It's training camp season. Today we're looking at the Dallas Cowboys, getting another look at George Pickens. We're going to watch him work through some drills, make some highlight reel catches, everything else. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at your players and what they're doing at training camp. Your rookies, those position battles. Guys are getting ready to draft in fantasy football here soon. Click that button. Stop missing out today. We're looking at George Pickens. He's been doing work at 6 minutes clips. He's been doing work. Some of them are duplicates from different angles, but still pay attention to old George here. And we're going to talk some ball on him as well. There he is back there after the catch. Back here with Dak. Dak's healthy. Dak's healthy this year. There we go, finding Willie Mays in it. I believe he caught it. Is this again? Nope. By the boundary again. There's Dak. Boom. Dak takes a lot of trash from people. A lot of people trash on Dak. The thing is, he's been in and out a lot. He's been nicked up. He's been banged up. Now you got him 2 wide receiver ones. For a lot of teams, George Pickens would be a wide receiver 1. It was last year. Now he gets to play his role. And that's bully ball downfield. And you got CeeDee Lamb moving him around with George Pickens being moved around. This team's doing a lot of motion. I don't think you've realized that, but if you watch a lot of these clips, they're doing a lot of motion, a lot of movements, a lot of shaking up. Maybe not on display while I'm talking about it. You'll see this throughout the clips. You'll see a lot of shaking up pre-snap. It's a little different here, a little bit more active. George Pickens' ability to get downfield and be open when he's covered is going to be huge, those sticky hands. It was noted by the coaching staff. They said they love it. They want to move him around. They're going to move him around. And that on the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb. That's going to be rather interesting. That one hand, do you see how strong those hands are? That Georgia Tech game when he was at Georgia where he just got in that fight with that DB. Just really assault. There's those hands again. When he assaulted that DB. This is something this offense kind of needs. They kind of need that attitude to them. They kind of need that. They kind of need that approach when it comes to their mental fortitude. They need that bully ball. And they're going to have that in the passing attack now. That offensive line, huge question mark. They drafted Tyler Booker. That is going to be an offensive lineman that's going to be a part of this team for a long time. It's going to be in the 2030s. They're going to be talking about Tyler Booker as a mainstay. That kid's smart. He's strong. He pancakes dudes. He's top interior offensive lineman in the draft. There was tiers below him when it came to the next guy. There he is. Strong hands. This passing game is going to be more reliable this year as long as people stay healthy. Offensive line stays intact. Dak stays intact. Wide receivers stay intact. It gets weird sometimes in these Cowboys seasons where things look like they're coming along pretty good, then an injury hits. He attacks the football, man. Last year, this time, he was making play after play, highlight after highlight with Justin Fields in training camp. Going nuclear, every single day. A massive play. He doesn't have to be the guy here. He just has to come out and get downfield. Now, there's CeeDee Lamb. Where's he at? Because he was part of this clip. Where's he at? There he is downfield with him. Getting the blocks. There he is. The thing about that is that he can concentrate getting downfield, playing bully ball, assaulting defensive backs, and just really play his game. And that's going to help CeeDee Lamb. That's going to help Dak. That's going to help Ferg. This run game, they're trying to iron that out with these running backs. We're looking at all that. There's those hands again. And you're looking at George Pickens here. It's going to be a huge enlightenment for this offense. We see this clip a few times here. and Dak Prescott's healthy. Dak Prescott, if you're looking to go a little cheaper at quarterback in fantasy but still have some upside, this is probably going to be the moment for you. This is probably going to be the year for you to do that. He's cheaper. He's got 2 wide receiver ones now. They always get in those weird games where there's shootouts. Another player that's killing it in camp is Donnie E., their second-round pick from Boston College. He's been killing it. And I had him mocked in the first round, and he's been killing it. We were mocking him in the first round. Everybody was. He's a first-rounder that fell to the second. Another one of those guys. He's been killing it. He's been looking good. He's been looking solid. From what I've been seeing in clips and from what I've been reading up, Donnie E. been looking solid. I think George is going to be solid. If you're worried about him being a head case to this team, you got to also think we're in a new situation. Give him some time. Maybe after a couple years, if things aren't going well, if they start losing, then probably. But right now, he's happy. Him and CeeDee Lamb are just working together. They've built up a chemistry. Everything's going solid. Everything's looking good. And I expected that in the beginning. Usually you see that with wide receivers over the course of time, like my whole life. Like Terrell Owens even. You get them in a new place, and that first few years, it's going good. But then after a change or two or something happens, and then it comes out. But right now, what you're going to see is bully ball downfield. I would not be surprised if he mugs some defensive backs, joint practices and season, whatever. I would not be surprised. I expect it. That's part of his game. I don't want it to change. I don't want it to go away. I think you kill the dog if you take off the leash. I think you do that. I think you just let him bully those defensive backs, collect a few penalties over the seasons, and you move on. Let him be aggressive. That's just how he plays. That's his mindset. He's got that my ball mentality. That's his ball. I think this passing attack is going to be rather interesting. I think Dak's going to be solid. I think the offensive line might be patched up a little bit better than what people think. I think Booker's going to be huge for this team. I think they needed him. He was a reach if you look at mock drafts, everything on the board, maybe opportunity costs. But really for what he brings to this team, it's going to be stability on the inside. He's going to be a guy that can pancake left and right, super smart. He's going to be on this team for over a decade, or possibly pushing a decade. Maybe I overstated that. But compared to a lot of picks in the first round, you'll be looking at that draft and you'll be like, oh, there's a lot of dead zones here. Booker was a safe pick. He was a safe pick. Filled in need, has long-term upside, long-term stability. Probably going to be an all-pro multiple years. Like a safe pick. I don't see how that can be the wrong choice unless the injury bug starts biting. You're looking at Pickens. He's a dog. He's a dog. We're getting that dog mindset here for the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's something they needed. Let's see how that materializes, but he's been blowing up. Fantasy-wise. That's why some of you guys are here. Fantasy football-wise. Looking at George Pickens. I'm going to say it like this. CeeDee Lamb's going to get a lot of targets. I believe both of them will be in the 20% target share range. CeeDee Lamb's going to be in that elite range, though. George Pickens are going to get those deep balls. There's going to be a few games where he goes nuclear this year. And that's going to be great for daily fantasy football. Setting lineups, he could be a headache. Because sometimes Cowboys get in those game scripts where it gets a little slow. And there's going to be game scripts where it's CeeDee with the targets. And those deep balls like that. Those are higher acuity plays, yielding higher results when they land, but they are also higher acuity, harder to land downfield. So it could not be his fault. He could be overshot, could be covered, they just sling it anyways. Whatever it is. You bring a couple of those in, you get a big splash performance. You'll probably get like 4 or 5 of them this year where he's like around 30 fantasy points, maybe 25, 28, 32, 33, something like that. And then you'll have a couple of them where those miss. And he'll get you 4 fantasy points that game. And there'll be a few of those. But he'll also have some good wide receiver 2 games that'll hold you steady. But those games that miss, those slower game scripts, and he's sharing it with CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. That could impact you. You may not like that, but if you're in best ball, you love it. You love it. You're going to love those spiked weeks with that little bit of stability. I think he's going to yield you good results. If you suck at setting lineups and looking at game scripts and having a feel for that, then he might hurt you a little bit. And to the point where he goes on that cold run, you think he's going to continue to do that, and then all of a sudden he goes off. And then you start putting him in because he goes off, and you're like, I got to wait another game. Then he goes off again. Then he does kind of good after that. Then you put him in, and then he goes on the dry spell for a game or two, and then you take him out, then he hits. If you're one of those types of fantasy managers when it comes to setting lineups, and you're not looking at the game scripts, you're not looking at the realm of possibilities in every game, and thinking of it along those lines instead of just the sheer results you're chasing, if you're chasing just the fantasy points, and you're not looking at how to project instead of looking at projections that the sites are giving you, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. That could be a landmine for you that you don't like. But this is a guy that could also be a gold mine for you if you play him right in fantasy. That's the thing about that. Just the deep balls, the red zone looks, those splash games. He's going to help somebody win $1 million somewhere down the line, especially those big DFS tournaments where it's Dak, CeeDee, and him stacked. All three of them go nuclear. You pick the right running back. Maybe Ferguson gets a random touchdown, because for both those running backs to really hit that hard, you're going to have to get a random touchdown from that to go with an onslaught stack. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's where you go really heavy on a team to be diverse from a large tournament. That way you're contrarian enough to where if you hit big, you kind of set yourself from the pack because you're different. You have a different build. You have a different puzzle. And the goal is to score as many points as possible, being the winner. But there's different builds with that due to the price of the players and different strategies. And how you do your stacks creates different strategies, and how you get cheaper players, more expensive, how things hit. And an onslaught stack is where you really go more than 3 players, and you just go nuclear. That has won people millions of dollars before. I think it was a few years ago. It was week 1. It was a Tampa Bay onslaught stack where they went 5 deep or something like that. It has happened. And you think it's rare, but it's rare to win $1 million in general, and there's a bunch of different strategies. But that's a way you could do it. I can definitely see, if we can get something coming out of the running back position where you can onslaught this team. I think it's going to be hard to onslaught it, but Ferg, the 2 wide receivers, Dak, you got 4 there. And then you got to be really smart with what you go in the cheap end of your picks for DFS. But that's something to look at. George Pickens is going to hold value in Dynasty to a degree. I think he'll be a little bit volatile every year due to how fantasy managers look at that when it comes to ADP. But really it depends, because a lot of people want to look at straight up points per game. But if you look at this splash weeks, you know how to play it, it could be huge for you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.